Welcome back, Tamers, and it's time for the King's Court. If you haven't already guessed, at least by looking at this, yeah, we're going to be doing an updated Alphamon deck profile because we are in the middle of BT13 format. Woo! Exciting! Before we get into it, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and of course ring the bell for notifications so you know that when we are uploading daily, or almost daily, we kind of fumble the ball on that a few times, but we'll get back to it. And of course, follow our social media pages so you know when we're uploading, just in case you forgot to ring the bell for notifications. With that being said, yeah, this is an updated Alphamon deck profile. BT13 gave us not only a new Alphamon, but a new line, which has led us to basically revive the deck. Few things of note. This is currently still a testing build. I've taken a few other things I've seen from other builds and working on it. So right now, it's still a work in progress. I've had 2 locals to test this. The first locals I played with this, I went X2. Just did not see pieces against Shine Greymon. Game 2 and 3. And against Ravemon, made one critical error that just cost me the game. And my second locals with this deck went X1, tying for 3rd or 2nd, I think it was. No, tied for 2nd. And unfortunately, lost to Dobrikmon. Excuse me, I need to take a sip. Over here, something going in the background. It's still summer months where I live, so kind of hot. And against Dobrikmon, I made one mistake that also cost me the game. I forgot Alpha says you can't attack players. I suspended Alphamon on the block, which they just brought the Dobrikmon out to pop it, to attack over it. Unfortunate. So, overall the deck has done pretty well, so I'll talk about it, discuss my card choices, and overall see how things go. So, let's get into it, shall we? Sorry, if you see me struggling with these are new sleeves I had to put on. My old oversleeves were being a little uncooperative. Alrighty, so first off, we are playing 5 eggs, but we'll start with the first. We are playing 4 copies of BT7 Digimon. If you know my Machinedramon list, then you know why we play this, but in case you're not sure, this is the deck that it came into. It is once per turn during your turn when a card is added to your sources. Draw 1. It's not optional, you have to do it. You can forget, like I do, so it's fine. He's your preferred egg. You preferred egg to go into, and of course you want the Doraemon stack. Remember for Oryuken's effect, you cannot return, you have to put non-egg Digimon cards, so Doraemon is unable to be put back. And then my 5th egg was 1 copy of BT13 Doraemon, which is, when attacking, if you have 4 or more sources, draw 1. I could see this more in Machinedramon. As for Alpha, I was not the keenest on this. I preferred having Doraemon, because there were times the other Doraemon just went because I wouldn't attack, and so I didn't want to have to wait to get a draw. But plus, when you do the Oryuken to put back a lot of cards, if you need to, it's not the best to do it that way. So yeah, we'll probably go back to just playing 4 eggs, but for right now, this is what we played, and it worked. At least yesterday it worked. At the time of recording, we had Dortmund yesterday. Alright, so let's start with our rookies first. And for everyone who plays X Antibody, knows these rookies, we are playing 4 copies of BT7 Dorumon. On play, you look top 3, add 1 Digimon card, add 1 card with X Antibody in the trace, and 1 Kota Damamoto, and then put the rest at the bottom, and then into your sources, in Inheritable, gain 1 memory when a card is added to your sources. Probably the best one to put as a Digimon to Digivolve into on top of your Digitama. And arguably, probably still the best card in the deck. And I don't even want to say arguably, he will get you advantage quickly. It will help you out. But the problem is, as you'll see with our Tamer lineup, he only really hits Digimon. and I'll explain that when we get to our tamers. Next, we're playing 4 copies of BT8 Ryudomon, who has a very similar effect to Dorumon, which is on play, you look at the top 3, add 1 with X antibody in the traits, and 1 Yuji Musha among them to your hand, and then place the button at the bottom. And inheritable, if you have X antibody, it has decoy. This can be good under a blocker, where you can just make it so you have that no matter what, it will not kill your other stack. So sometimes I've used this against, say, I would have used this against Royal Knights, but I didn't have it. But whatever. He's a good searcher, and again, thanks to Tamer lineup, you actually would want to play him over Dorumon. I'll get to that when we get the Tamers. But both are very good. I recommend maxing these both out. If you're going to play this deck, play 4 of both. Next, rookies. 2 copies of Promo Tsunarizumon. Your turn, all your black Digimon with 13k DP or more gain piercing. That's pretty good, actually. And then your turn, while this Digimon is black and has 13 or more DP, this Digimon gains security attack +1. Thanks to BT13 Alphamon, this thing can already hit without having to have a lot of sources underneath it. So yeah, this is a good card. The only problem is it's not X antibody, so there are times that you will whiff on cards. But you'll whiff very rarely, so honestly, having this in sources is fine. Plus, you can always add Dorumon to source later and still get its effect off. Oh. Just to put this out there, I'll bring this up later in the video, but as long as something enters your sources and Dorumon's there to see it, it'll work. Now, Dorumon will actually recognize itself being put in if it was, and recognize that as the effect. I'm bringing that up because during my tournament, there was someone who tried to say, well, X antibody will not trigger the effect. It will, because to play it, you will place it underneath, which adds a source. That's the effect. I had that during my Royal Knight game where the guy said I was not supposed to gain a memory, but I did because I know how that works. And then our final rookie, 1 copy of Chikurimon. If you want to cut out something, maybe the options, you can, or swap around something else. But I like this ratio. I would play more. Which makes my game against Royal Knights really sacky because we saw the 1 of. I forgot we were only playing 1. So I made it really sacky, and it was hilarious. But, if you don't see it, fine. But it was pretty good. You know what this does? You can't reduce play cost, which means against Royal Knights this is almost an auto win if they can't out it. That's it for rookies. We played, I think, a total of 11 rookies. Pretty good. So for our champions, we play 4 copies of BT7 Darugumon. So during your opponent's turn, while you have an X antibody Digimon, another one, can't just be him, he will gain blocker. And then inheritable gives X antibody all turns plus 1k DP. This makes Alphamon, at least the BT13 one, 13 during all turns. Or you can 17, it makes BT9 Alpha 12k. Can do some pretty funny things, but honestly, pretty good still. But, and yeah, you won't play 4 of this one, just because it's better. It has the more utility. Okay, next, 2 copies of BT13 Darugumon, which has no ability, but the inheritable is why if Digimon has X antibody trait, gain 1k DP. Why this is good is because it's a 4 cost. So if your opponent gives you 4, or gives you 4, you can play this and then Death X Digivolve into Dex Darugumon. And now you have blocker retaliation for 3 essentially, if you want to be technical. And if you're able to go into, say, Doru Greymon, you can go your opponent's turn. They can't do anything to it. It's fine. And again, the 1k DP inheritable is really nice. If you've been playing X Antibody or playing this card game enough, you know what I mean Death X Digivolve, because we're playing 4 copies of Dex Darugumon. Sorry, I need to take another sip. Anyway. So, you Digivolve for 0 on top of Darugumon, or it's a 3 cost to Digivolve on top of either a black or a purple. When Digivolving, you may place 1 card in the trash with Dex or Death X in its name, or X Antibody in the traits from your hand to gain 1 memory. And then when Digivolving, if this Digimon has Darugumon in the True Edition cards, or is Digivolving from the trash, one of your Digimon, doesn't have to be this one of them gains Blocker and Retaliation. Which means on turns you can make Alphamon a blocker with Retaliation, which is pretty nasty. And of course, this is what you'll want to use your Lottie combos of. Now we get the Ultimates. And if you have been knowing anything, this deck, I'll just show it off. We play one of BT7 Doru Greymon. This is my champion pack one, because I did win it with this card. On Digivolution, you may place 1 card X Antibody in the traits from your hand underneath this Digimon, to then make sure that it cannot be deleted by effects and can't have its DP reduced. And Inheritable, it gets, if your Digimon has X Antibody in the traits, it gains Security Attack +1. Now I know what you're thinking. Michael, thick boy of the Golden State Kings. First off, why are you so handsome? And to answer that question, no, you are king. Anyway, just kidding. Why are we only playing one of this? Well, if you don't know this Doru Greymon has been limited to only 1 copy because they felt it was too degenerate. It basically allowed X Antibody decks, presumably the Alphamon variant, to swing multiple times with 2 to 3 checks, OTK, yada yada yada. Well, I get it why it was limited. Unfortunately, it meant the deck suffered a lot. You had to play a lot of wonky other pieces that just really didn't help you out. It also meant to get your cool boys to trigger off of it, you actually had to do your Darugumon line, which was fine, but it would always be a little more wonky. So having the one of is still good. It's still good. It's sacky, but you wanted more. Which is why BT13 came and saved us, because we now play 4 copies of BT13 Doru Grey. First off, I love the artwork of this picture. It is so nice. So when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card. Place 1 card with X Antibody traits among them as the sources. And if a card was placed, it can't have a DP reduced at the end of your opponent's turn. Trash the rest. Now, I felt that was actually the thing is, the problem with Doru Grey is that the original one was the Security Attack +1 was kind of, because you go with multiple, so I thought if they were going to make a new one for us, it's either gets only 1 check, either gets rid of the Security Attack +1, or gets rid of the deletion. And they did the deletion, which I'm okay with. Especially with Shine Gray being the most popular deck right now. This helps out a lot because they can't DP minus you. And Inheritable, once per turn, during your end of your turn, you may place 1 Digimon card with X Antibody trait from your hand as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. You can trigger this before or you can, so don't worry about having this in the sources. What triggers first? You trigger the order. And because we love building big stacks, we play 2 copies of Dex Doru Greymon. On Digivolution, you may trash 1 card from your hand with X Antibody to gain 1 memory. I say X Antibody because you really don't trash other Dex cards unless you have it in hand or you don't think you need it. And then if you have Doru Grey in the sources, or your Digimon from trash, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. This actually helps you clear out a lot of blockers, a lot of memory gain, stuff like that. Floodgates, but the only floodgate that hurts you are the ones that you say you can't gain memory of, because you really don't reduce the cost. The only reducing cost of Digivolution you maybe do is Alpha, but that's a different Digivolution condition, not reducing the cost. You also be 2, because you don't want to Digivolve on top of it, because it's a 4 cost to Digivolve, which is heavy. Now we go to our Megas, which is actually a pretty heavy stack. So we're going to start off with the new boy, the new hotness, which is 2 copies of BT13 Alphamon, and he is amazing. Oh my god, it is amazing. I can see why some decks in JP land, where this game's from, Japan, why this thing has replaced the BT9 Alpha. When Digivolving are on play, you place 1 Digimon card with X Antibody or Royal Knights in this trace from the trash as this card's bottom Digivolution source. And all of your opponent's play cost 10 or higher Digimon can't attack players until the end of the turn. It has to be players. because, again, it can be attacked if you suspend it. Whatever. And then all turns, once per turn, when an effect would remove this Digimon from play, from battle area, by returning one card with X antibody or Royal Knight traits from the card sources to the bottom of the deck, prevent the removal once per turn. This effectively has gotten rid, without having to use Kongu during your turn. This has effectively gotten rid, and Breath of the Gods, this effectively has gotten rid of one of the X Antibody's biggest banes of its existence, which was either being moved to security or being moved to the hand or deck. You can still get deleted. If we had this when Dora Greymon was first unlimited, I think this deck would have been tier 0 in general, because just that ability this ability is ridiculous. You can stun people against, like, say, Dorbrickmon or Royal Knights. If you see they have the support ready, you go into this and they just can't. They can play with the Royal Knights, but then what are they going to do? They can't swing on you. Again, that actually happened where I had this out. They had the hand ready to go, but I went to Oryuken. The next turn, on my turn, was pretty good. Again, he's really good at being 12k DP. Means he's 13k on your opponent's turn, which means with some reason he's already swinging 2 checks. And with another option card we play, he gets even nastier. Next, 2 copies of BT9 Alpha. We still do play BT9 Alpha. Like I said, I can see why you would play the newer BT9 Alpha over this one. I can see why you would increase the number of that one. But I still say BT9 Alpha is extremely useful. So when Digivolving, you may place 1 card X antibody in your the trades from your trash underneath this card, which is good. And then once per turn, during your turn, when an effect places a card underneath the Digimon sources, Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, yes, this triggers on the X antibody. I don't know why people are so sure that X antibody doesn't do that way, but yes, X antibody's effect, which I'll explain when I get to the card, but whatever. So still really good. Next, 3 copies of Oryumon from BT8. Its effects are decent and solid. It's 4 costs, it's 12k. It's solid as a card. It is. It really is. And sometimes if you don't have Alpha, this can be a good one if you go Doru Greymon. Because you can't have your DP reduced. When Digivolving, you may place 1 card with X antibody traits in this card's Digimon sources. And this Digimon, to delete one of your opponent's Digimon to play cost, I believe it's 7. I forget what the errata is. I don't have the errata. I think you just have to put traits. Then, when one of your effects places the card underneath this Digimon gets 2k DP and cannot be deleted by your opponent's effects at the end of their turn, which means this thing is 15k if you have Dorugamon and can't be deleted. And thanks to, if you have the Doru Grey, it can't have DP reduced, which means it's hard to get rid if you have to bounce it. But let's be honest here. We don't care about the top part of the effect. We care about the inheritable, which is, once per turn, at the end of the attack, if this Digimon is Alphamon, unsuspended. So you know where this is going, you just swing, swing, swing. Now, if you have 2 in sources, you need to make sure you know about this. If you have 2 in sources, they will both trigger at the same time, because they both will have to trigger. So, which is why you see any Alphamon player, they only try to have 1 in the first time they swing. When they unsuspend, they swing again, they will trigger. They will then put another one underneath, because now the second one has an effect, can now activate without having to worry about it. I love this card for the reason of just being able to OTK if you have the pieces, if not just a lot of pressure. Even though the new BT13 is alpha and probably our main boss for a lot of our scenarios, we still do play one of the best cards in the game. I'm sorry, I still think it is. At least one of the best bosses. 3 copy of Alphamon Oryuken. When Alphamon has to draw upon the Oryuken blade, you know it's going down. So we cost 7 to Digivolve. But if you have an Alphamon with the Oryumon as a source, it only costs 3. So when Digivolving, you lead all of your opponent's Digimon at the highest play cost. Which means if they have 2 level 8s, or new 2 play cost 8, 2 7 play costs, 2 10 play costs, 2 13, yada yada yada, it doesn't matter, they all get deleted. And then end of your turn once per turn. You may return up to 7 non-Digi-8 cards with X antibody in their traits from this Digimon Fusion sources to the bottom of your deck in any order. And if you do, gain 1 memory back. So, this basically means your huge stack, you can return it down to little to nothing to gain back 7 memory. This does a lot. The best way to do it is if you've used a Dorumon, Orumon, and all those effects in that same turn. Return them back, and you can recycle them and get them again. You can actually filter through your deck pretty quickly, so doing this is actually really nice. And again, he's 16k, 17 with Dorugumon. If you have another card, which I'm going to mention later, it's even bigger. Like I said, this card is really good. It's a boss monster. Against Royal Knights in Game 3, I had to actually go through all 3 of these to win. My opponent was like, I didn't have to, but when we checked the security with the last security card, because he scooped when I got this out, it was an Alphamon. I was only on BT9 Alpha, which means even if I swung, I actually would have died to security, and I would have lost, so I had to go into this. Still good card. Now for our Tamers. And this is why I said we have to play with Unimon, we're often to play Dorumon, because we're playing 3 copies of Yuji Musha. So your turn, when your Digimon attacks with X antibody in their traits, excuse me. So if you know what the Bond Tamers do, you know, like the Tai and Kamiya and Matt Ishida, he's that one. When your Digimon with X antibody in traits is moved from the breeding area to your battle area, gain 1 memory, draw 1. So these all will trigger. So if you have all 3 out and you move out, you gain 3 memory and draw 1 card for each. Effectively recuperating any advantage you have. And then on attack, when your Digimon X antibody attacks, you may suspend this Tamer to place 1 Digimon card with X antibody in the traits underneath one of your Digimon from your hand. It has to be from your hand. So that's how you're going to facilitate the multiple swings of Oryukin or Alpha by using Orumon, by using this effect. Next, we are playing 3 copies of Cool Boy. Cool Boy always avoiding that ban list, but hey, what can I say? I'm glad he does. So on play, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 X antibody option card, so it's the optional card X antibody in the traits, and 1 X antibody Digimon to your hand. Another card with X antibody traits, but it could be 1 option card and 1 X antibody traits. Oh no, it's 1 Digimon. What's up? Yeah, you get my point. And then once per turn, when 1 of your Digimon digivolves into a same level Digimon with the X antibody in the traits, you may suspend its Tamer to draw 1 and gain a memory. So if you have 3, gain 3. So if you have both all 3 Yujis and all 3 this out, you get 6 memory and drawing 6 off of this. So it's pretty good, pretty nasty, of course. And then we play 1 copy of Kota Domamoto. He's your memory setter. If you don't know, start of your turn. If you have 2 or less memory, gain save memory to 3. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and add 1 X antibody card in the traits to your end. Replace the bottom of your deck. We don't play 1. You don't really need him as much as you needed to before, because you just have so much memory gain anyway, that this card now is more like a nice to have, but you still need it just in case you don't see anything else. Plus, he does search, so. Now on our option cards, and this is where we can make some tech choices. So, I played 1 X antibody. Okay, so while you have a Digimon play this, you may use this card without meeting the color requirements. That's good. Security, gain memory, add this card to your hand. That's good too. Main. This is an activate main effect, so you have to play this card. You play it. Place this card underneath one of your Digimon without the X antibody institution cards at the bottom source. So there you go. That's how you gain a source. I'm sorry, Royal Knight player. That's why it gains effect. It is its effect. It says it right there. Right there. I'm sorry to be a little salty, but that's annoying. And then all turns. Effects cannot trash this card as a source as inheritable. And then when attacking, this Digimon can digivolve into a Digimon card with X antibody in the traits in your hand for its distribution cost, which means or you can for 3, or yada yada yada. Still a good card. Glad I played at 1. You don't have to. If you want to replace it, you can replace this. You don't have to play it. I selected it at 1. 1 black memory boost. You can cut X antibody to play a second one if you feel you need this. I just like having this for... Yeah. If you know what boost, everyone knows what boost does. Look top 4. I know I'm saying everyone knows what it does, and I'm still explaining it. I have to do that. Look top 4, add 1 black Digimon card among your hand, place remaining on the bottom of your deck, and place it in the battle area, then delay, trash it to gain 2 memory. And then finally some good fun cards. So we play 1 Breath of the Gods, because I feel this is still necessary. When your Digimon gains reboot, unsuspend, yada yada yada. Then this Digimon it can't have its DP reduced or return to hand or deck until the end of your opponent's turn. In one of my final matches against Mirage Galgamon, I had this on Oryukin, and then he tried to Full Moon Meteor Impact to bounce Alphamon Oryukin. I did not force him to play it. I was like, it's okay, you forgot the card, it's fine. It didn't mean anything because I still won that turn later anyway. In a security effect, your opponent can't attack Digimon with players, or can't attack players with Digimon for the turn. That comes up in handy, but honestly, you care more about its on-play effect. Then we play 1 copy of Kongu. Until the end of your opponent's turn, your opponent's Digimon with play cost 7 or less can't attack players, and cards can't be added to security stacks by your opponent's effects. Which basically means, yeah. Against yellow decks, they can't recover. Against Marcus, this pretty much means they can't recover anything. And now, also, they can't swing with Marcus because Marcus may not be treated. This doesn't say level. This says play cost, which Marcus still play cost 4. So he will be able to attack. And so they can't be kind of security. Anyway, if you're able to play this and then wipe out all their Marcuses, they're not getting them all back. And then our final card, which is my tech, and it's a popular tech, but I chose to go with it anyway, is a copy of Final Zubagon Punch. Okay, this is a long card, but I'm going to try to do the best to summarize it. So, you choose one of your Digimon. Give that Digimon 3k DP until the end of your opponent's turn, next turn. Then, if this Digimon has 16k or more DP, it will gain Blocker, Reboot, and Security Attack +1 until the end of your opponent's next turn. And Security will add this to the card at hand. Now, I believe you have to meet the threshold to get this. So, if you're not at 16k DP, you don't get everything. I believe so. I do not recall. Never had it where I didn't pretty much always reach the threshold. I think there was one time I didn't. We weren't sure, and again, it really didn't mean anything because that next turn I lost anyway. But anyway, so yeah, and this is how you can actually have, or you can swing for 2 checks multiple times. Yeah. So if you really want to tech out or play more to your meta, you can play the BT6 Alpha for Royal Knights if you're worried about the Royal Knight matchup, which is when it's hitting security, you add this card to your hand, and then if there's an X antibody or Royal Knight on the field, you choose up to, I believe it is 12 of your opponent's Digimon, and they can't attack for the turn. And then when you attack, you can pay up to any memory, up to 5 memory, gain 1k for each one, paid. And at the end of attack, gain 2 memory. Both of these are not until the end. This is to the end of the turn. Actually, no, you may pay up to 5 memory if you do this. Digimon gets 1k DP. So yeah, these are not once per turn. So you're going to gain the memory and also gain the amount of power. So you can pay to 2 memory, attack, go back, unsuspend, gain 2 memory, attack. If you want to pay 2 memory, you can unsuspend, gain 2 memory. So you can have to hit big numbers, which is really good. And then again, you want to play another Chikurimon, another Black Mary boost, you can do that too. All our fine options. X Antibody is wide open in the door right now. It's a really good deck. I feel it's an underdog for some people because some people still think other decks are much better. I mean, if you get outsped, you get outsped. That's kind of what'll happen. I mean, I'm being honest. I love the deck, but you can get outsped sometimes. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about question of the day. Sorry about that, guys. I was so busy talking about the deck and everything. I just went on and on and on. So I guess question of the day. As we reach the end, I'm sorry, guys. What are you guys excited for to play BT13? What are your recommendations? Do you think I've made some good tech choices or not good tech choices? Be constructive in the chat. Be constructive in the comment section. We're all good here. Are you gonna play X Antibody? Do you think the deck is good? Do you think the addition of the Dorogramon is here? Yada yada. All these good things again. Or just comment saying hi, how you doing? You know, just we want to hear from you guys, hear from the fans, hear from the subscribers, do what you want. All that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, this is a good deck. I love it. We like playing what we like here, so I've been Michael, your resident thick boy of the Golden State Kings, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.